What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today I'm here to jump into some more Orcs Must Die Unchained. This time we're finishing off the Eventide Fortress, the last explored map, with Yi-Lin. We're going to go ahead and fire it up. There's the Girl of the Hour, and I'm going to modify this deck. I'm going to be using a whole lot of fire, mainly because it's inexpensive for the range that it covers, and it can deal pretty consistent damage over time. I mean, damage over time is kind of fire's thing, but not too many traps can deal it as consistently over a large amount of space. And because of that, fire is particularly good on this map. That and there's only one set of fire resistant enemies that are super important, and for them, almost exclusively, we are bringing the swinging mace, because it does a lot of damage. It's just a really good trap, and when you get the opportunity to use something that's really good, you use it. We are going to, actually we can keep the priest. You can choose to use the weapon right if you want over here. We're going to be using a lot of fire traps over there, but the weapon right will deal more damage. You can keep the priest if you want, or any other guardian that floats your boat. The stable hand would be pretty good there if you don't have the weapon right. He won't deal as much damage, but the slows will help your traps, and the weapon right's pretty much just there for the DPS. Not many more things will be able to out damage him surrounded by fire traps, but we're going to see how this turns out. Our goal here is really to split the enemies up and to try to be cost efficient with how we're placing the traps. So here we go.
Loyalty, honor, sacrifice.
Yeah, all of those are good. So we're gonna hop over here and start burning everybody as soon as they even try to get in here. These aren't going to stick around though, so not that big a deal. We are, however, going to rush back here, drop our weapon right off early. That'll prevent us from forgetting to do it at a later time. And forgetting things is definitely not something you want to do here. This build is generally pretty tight for me, so if you forget to place something or place something extra out of order, that might remove coin that you needed to do something else with. Alright, so let's bleed the guy and then do a nice little pull. Anybody that happens to get flipped off of the Scorchers, basically insta-dead. They have no hope. Alright, gonna grab Healing Moon because solo, there's not really much else that works well with Ivy. I'm sorry, not Ivy. Yi-Lin. I think it was all the green that confused me for a moment.
Yes, that placement is suitable.
Okay, now these guys are going to start coming through here. You want to set up the things that will make sure that we are burning them to a crisp.
Rift is opening. Destroy it.
All right. So since I blocked off the left side, nobody's really going to come over here. They may path over here, but unless they have leaping, in which case they deal no damage to the rift, they're really not going to be able to do much. That should have been enough to kill it, right? No, I was wrong. I'm one hit short.
We have destroyed the unstable rift.
But that's okay. If I'd have swung once before retreating, that would have killed it and saved me a bit of time. Now I haven't actually set up the rest of what I need here, which is going to be something like this.
Traps are a great technological advancement.
And of course, we want to put some damage behind it, so.
That was a good kill, but my swords still wish to sing their song of death.
Okay.
Enemies incoming! They've broken through on another front!
We'll sell the other 4 when we get the opportunity to in just a moment. We're going to place 2 of those there. There's going to be some bosses that eventually happen upon us, and we don't want to deal with them.
I have a plan in mind.
While we have the opportunity, we're going to start the
I protect the Empire.
damage tunnel over here. That should make things a bit easier for us to deal with long term. And as long as too many things don't get hit through here, we should be pretty much okay.
That ability is on full.
Eventually, this will be an area that you can use to hold off just about everything that'll be coming through.
I need healing.
No, you don't. You're fine. If you ever do need to get out of a heated situation with Yi-Lin, just remember to stop attacking, hold shift, and run. Okay, so that done, we are about to have to deal with both the left and the right gates. The right first, and then the left.
I have a plan in mind. After much meditation,
Our boss is on his way.
this placement fits my strategy. The fundamental.
Watch out! An unstable rift is opening. Get
That's
to
not
it
too
and
bad a
destroy
place.
it.
It could have been worse. Just gonna do a couple of quick portal hops, and that should get us a bit closer to this.
My swords cut deep.
Whoa.
And our heroes
Okay, right click
destroyed the
just didn't
unstable
happen
rift,
for a moment.
and there was much rejoicing.
And then because we should mostly be set up for success, we're gonna go help our guardian buddy.
The enemy's boss is dead.
Now the BGH ballista that I set up earlier did a lot of damage to that boss.
Transform.
Saved me a bit of time.
Tremble, enemies of the Empire.
The one thing I do want to say is you want to try not to place things like your ceiling ballistas early. You really only need those in a couple of situations, and most of them aren't super crazy. They're really to fill out the final areas that you can build in, rather than be like the crux of your damage.
Yes, that placement is suitable.
For the most part, that should handle those guys. We're going to save up for 3 great wall barricades. Alright, and with that done, we're going to take aspect of the tiger.
I stand ready to give
Ooh,
my life
tried to
for
shoot
the
him.
Empire.
So when all said and done, we're going to come over here, and this is pretty specific.
With these
Need to build this.
I protect the Empire.
Oh, there we go, and one more. Alright, now
Yes,
all of
that
these guys are going to
placement
path
is
south.
suitable.
We still have a bit of coin left, and that's good. A mite bit of that is probably going to be specifically
I will
due
be able
to
use that
fire trap
ability
combos.
soon.
These are, yeah, kobolds, because those are the only enemies that should be fast enough to basically give you any sort of issues with this guardian. That, and I don't have quite as much damage here as I could.
I have a plan in mind.
Our
All right.
enemies are breaking through elsewhere.
So now we are dealing with all of the gates except for the upper left one. The upper left one we're going to be saving up coin to prepare for with this particular batch of
Unstable
kills.
rift is opening. Quick, destroy it.
But we're definitely going to go bash that rift. That rift is not a friend.
They've broken through a gate.
I may be from
For
the
this particular wave, I think this is probably a pretty bad spot for it to
Unstable
spawn.
rift has been destroyed.
Not too many that could have been better.
to lead our armies. I must keep ahead of our enemies.
All right. So with the addition of those two Spitfires, it looks like we're doing a bit better as far as holding the enemies off. Huh. Surprised they actually got hit. They must have some really huge hitboxes. Okay, last couple of enemies. Alright, now we want to try to flesh out the rest of what we can get in here.
I have a plan in mind.
Our enemies, they're breaking through again!
Traps are a great technological
Now, since I don't
advancement.
have any non-fire wall traps or floor traps other than the slow, I'm really not going to bother myself with trying to get too many of those out, because they're not going to do too much else. I do need to sell those though, and I should be able to do that between this wave and the next. And we have 2 waves to save up for what should be the bottom wave opening up. Or not the bottom wave, the bottom gate. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go with Blessing of Power for Temper Strike. I don't use it too often, but when I do, I'm usually trying to pack a lot of enemies into a tight space, so the extra damage would be useful there. You do want to try to make sure that you can sort of pick off these leapers when you get the opportunity. Killing them as soon as possible will prevent you from having to chase nearly as much as you do, or nearly as much as I am at the moment. Okay, so we got a good bit of coin going. What we're going to want to do with that is finish this off.
I have a plan.
They've summoned a boss minion!
I don't really care about Lysander too much, but since non-fire enemies will be passing through here regularly, we do want to sort of beef this up just a tad.
The fundamentals of trap placement are surprisingly easier to grasp.
And that's it. Anything that you kill over here will respawn next to Lysander. So kill as much of the hunters and the light orcs as you can, nothing too heavy. That'll sort of congregate everything. Alright, now that we have everything in one place,
Is down!
there we go.
Our barricades are under attack!
And there we go. Barricades are under the effects of wall building PhD, so they'll kind of rebuild themselves. Okay. Now, we are going to have to deal with a few things down here now, so I might as well prepare for it. You can either try to build some traps around this area if you want. It won't be super effective, and it'll kind of leave you wanting if you don't put enough damage down here. So what I would recommend doing
Great technological advancement.
is getting these guys set up.
When I was a girl, we didn't have traps. We just had weapons, and we were glad for them.
Alright, now that those are there, you can also put
This spot
This
is
here?
the most harmonious.
2 of these, of course.
Our barricades are under attack!
And those are just the fire ogres doing their thing. Oh, the one that paths in the rear is kind of problematic.
Trespasser!
Alright, he's dead. And that's not destroyed, but I can't see a health meter on it, which is odd.
I forge for my
Not at all.
Chonga's Street Sentinel is here!
Alright, then we can head back down here, not wasting time staring at traps like I just did. Now let's just pull them.
The reach of the Empire is long!
I think I misheard that. It sounded like she said the reach of the Empire is small. But I'm like, that doesn't sound like a great empire. Pretty sure she said long.
Skill increases, but
All
I
right.
must keep training.
So everything that we're preparing for now is essentially down here. Everything that's going to be down here is basically large, so we're not going to have to worry about the physics effect of that knocking something over. What we do want to do, however, is murder those guys really hard after we take out this unstable rift. The swinging maces still aren't enough damage to basically kill those guys. What the? I just missed? Yeah, it did.
The unstable rift.
Oh well. Always clear out these fire dudes first. They are the most problematic if they happen to get through, because they will just soak up the damage of as many things as they can. Now, if you place the ballista up here, you can basically just sit at the bottom rather than placing the ballista down there first and fight everything. That's not a bad idea. The choice is really up to you and how you choose to play it. Slower characters are going to want to automate the top and basically just have to come down here to fight, just because the mobility won't be an option for them without doing something like sacrificing a trap slot or the speed pad. And if you're playing solo, those trap slots are really, really important. Why didn't I hit them? There we go. All right. So, slow them here. Ballista really aren't that great without slows in place. So, if you do not have a good amount of slows set up, then you're not really going to find them too useful. Alright.
Boss defeated.
Those two shots will basically take him out.
An unstable rift is opening. Get
Wow,
to
they
it
are
and
really
destroy
good
it.
at spawning some really inopportune unstable rifts here. Alright, I want to do this before I go and take care of that. Ooh, can I make it? No, I cannot. Absolutely can't, so we're gonna let it spawn.
Unstable rift was not destroyed. Enemy minions incoming.
And then we're just gonna burn everything. The guys at the top weren't even finished spawning yet, so that's great. They're basically gonna kill themselves on the swinging mace. Swinging maces are great. I don't think I can overstate that. They are pretty freaking good.
This spot is the most harmonious.
A couple of ballista just to shore up that top area, and I think we're pretty good. I could place a few more of these up. You never really need more than two tier 5 or higher BGH ballistas. They really are good at doing the job.
Boss is on its way.
I am Grace.
So 2 before normally would be somewhat of an issue if you didn't have BGH ballista right above the barricade that he's going to try to destroy. They're going to be shooting at him as soon as he gets into range too, so yeah, he's pretty much toast.
Our barricades are under attack. The boss minion has been taken down.
Just going to mash Z immediately to keep this moving, because we don't really need to do much else. We could also place a bunch of ballista up there, but we neither have enough waves to actually do that, and it's not that big a deal. We're just going to hop back down to the southern gate and do what we can down there. We're only short 1 ballista, and we could put some more fire back here. Could even do with another floor scorcher just to finish off like the area, but I don't even think we're gonna need that. Let's try to speed this up by fighting these guys a bit. Oops, that was wasted. it's important to remember that you don't really have to spam things with Yi-Lin. She doesn't really have any delay between Moon's Reflection picking things up as far as checking to see if your skill is alternated. So I'm in the habit of just feeling like things are cancels rather than actual just skill rotations. So I do that by habit pretty much 100% of the time. Man, did I even need the extra floor scorcher down here? Probably not. Definitely not. Okay. So those guys are gonna die. Literally the only thing coming from down here is going to be a couple of mountain trolls. And he bled to death. And these guys down here are just going to die.
Our barricades
I don't even
are
think
under
he's gonna
attack.
make it too far. Especially not with those hooks up his butt. And we are good.
A righteous victory, well deserved.
Strike the anvil. Bend the metal. Steel your will.
There we had some tenants from the way of the blacksmith. Or the weapon right, I guess I should say. All right. So there we have the final map with Yi-Lin. And I guess now we can start working on some more in-depth stuff with her, just to go over what she's capable of and just how good she really is. Which is really, really good, by the way. Like, she's not nowhere near hard to use or poor character. But next we get to go into Brass. And this is actually after the 2.6.1 patch. So Super Saiyan Brass is no more. But we do have some other nice buffs to her kit that will make it so that she really doesn't lose much by not having, you know, ridiculously overpowered Unchained spamming. But she's still great, and I think she actually may wind up being in a better place for the majority of like newer players and players that aren't like super optimization or min-max heavy for playing the game. It just makes her easier to use overall, but we'll get into that when we actually finish up the last map with Brass, and then in the review or overview video for her, we'll kind of talk about what she can do overall and what she offers to players. But either way, thanks as always for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate it, and until next time, as always, have a good one, folks.